What's up, guys? My name is Hint. Nice to meet you all. For those of you who are tuning into the video, welcome, welcome. This is just going to be a short little introductory before I jump into some recorded clips of me actually bursting for 3 hours. It's going to be sped up just to let you know. I also want to point out that before I begin this guide, or whatever you want to call it, it is a guide. It is also a loot video. That you do need a fire cape. You need one in order to do this. You don't need to wear it. You just need to show it to the guy and to access this area and kill these specific monsters. Otherwise, you will not be able to do what I'm doing here. You might be able to do it in the other area, the inner or the outer circle, but I don't think you'll get nearly the results that you're looking for, or that I would be looking for anyway. Let's start off with let's jump into the clips, and I'll talk over the introductory, and I'll throw in little pictures here and there of what I'm talking about in terms of gear and stuff. So let's jump into it. Alright, guys, let's jump right into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the inventory real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it open. As you can see on the right, I just popped up my inventory. So we started this trip, this 3-hour trip of bursting with 4,000 death runes, 8,000 chaos, 8,000 water, and 32 restores. I don't really remember if it was 32 or 30. This is after, obviously, after the 3 hours. So let's go ahead and do a price check on this really quickly, and I'll pop that up for you as well. And let's go ahead and toss these in, and it comes out to about a little bit under 2 mil. So that's pretty much what we have to beat. That's what we gotta get in terms of items. So hopefully we do get those items, and we get our 2 mil back, plus the experience that we got. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't mean to close it. So let's go ahead and talk about the gear really quickly. So as you can tell, I am wearing Aram's top, Aram's robe skirt, Aram's hood. You can easily change this out for mystics, or if you're richer than me, you can go ahead and do ancestral. Not a big problem. Now, as for the cape slot, I have an imbued Zemrock cape, but you can use a prayer cape if you want, or a regular god cape. It does not need to be imbued. I have a master wand for my weapon. You do not need a master wand. I prefer it over an ancient staff because of the stats, but an ancient staff will work just fine. Not a problem. For my glove slot, I have rune gloves. Obviously, if you have barrows, go ahead and use those. If you don't, you can use a regen brace that's about 2 mil, or you can use the other bracelet, which is about 11 mil, the Zenite bracelet, or whatever it is. I'm using wizard boots for my boots, but you can use mystic, or whatever the 30 mil boots are. I don't remember the name of them. I would seriously recommend you wearing a ring of wealth. I did try a Seer's ring for the first like 20 minutes, and then I got tired of picking up the Tokul. We will be picking up all the Tokul. And in my shield slot, I recommend a Book of Darkness. It does give +5 prayer and +10 magic. You can switch this out for another prayer book if you have it. Just for the prayer bonus, I would try to get something that has magic bonus though. But anything really works in that slot. As for the hood, you can, yeah, Aram's or Mystic. I would really recommend getting an occult necklace if you do not have one. I would really recommend getting one, especially if you're bursting. It really helps with the XP. And we'll talk about the XP in a second. I have bronze arrows in my inventory, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But get around 1,000 bronze arrows if you're gonna do this for 3 hours at least. If you're gonna do it more, then you want more. But I averaged about 800 about 800 bronze arrows I used in the 3 hours. As you can see in the video, actually, I'm using a bow to gather up all the minions with arrows because you want to have a long range. I would use darts, but it's just not it's very short ranged, and you want to use long range because these minions, they have a really short aggro distance. So if you move like the wrong way, just the slightest, you will get them de-aggroed and they'll walk away from you. So you really need to stay in this little box area that I set up on RuneLight, and I'll talk about that also in a minute. Let's just get through this real quick. As for the recommended stats, I recommend at least 70 mage. That is actually required to burst. So as you can see, I got a obby cape right there, which is nice. I would recommend at least 43 prayer. The higher prayer you have, the less prayer pots you'll use. But it is required to have 43 prayer for protect from melee. That's what I would recommend anyway. As for the inventory, let me go ahead and get the inventory slot real quick. It's really simple. I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple sharks, and about this many. I'll just show you how it looks in just a second, how I set it up. Let's grab my magic short bow because we'll need that. A couple sharks, and I think that's good. Obviously, you want to teleport there with the glory, and I have a rune pouch. If you don't have one, that's okay. You can just leave the runes in the inventory just like that. And this is pretty much what I had my inventory set up like. I would definitely bring some sharks because you never know, you might accidentally forget your prayer and need to eat really quickly. They do hit really hard, but I did run out of prayer a few times, and I didn't die, but it was definitely scary for sure. And if you accidentally attack the major as well, you can get some damage. So if you don't want to bring sharks, an alternative would be bringing blood runes and doing blood burst, just in case you do get a hit. But I really strongly recommend sharks because if you do run out of prayer, you're gonna want to chomp on some sharks real quick before you die. If you're really cautious about dying, maybe a ring of wealth over ring of life over a ring of wealth, but I strongly recommend the ring of wealth to pick up the Tokul. That stuff does really add up, honestly, and you'll see a really good return rate after a while because you'll be able to buy an onyx eventually with it. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on inside these clips right here, and hopefully they don't end. It might actually loop, I'm not sure, but let's talk about that. So as you can see, I'm getting my final drop here. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna end, unfortunately, but let's just continue talking, and let's go on from there. As you can see, there's yellow dots, squares on the ground. You're gonna want to mark it up just like that. You'll be able to find this place pretty easily. I'll try to throw up a map at the end of the video, and you can either skip to that real quick or wait until the end, and I'll show you, or I'll just throw a picture right now. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. You want to set it up the way I have it, and you want to dance around it pretty much to gather the minions like I'm doing right here. I'm sure you've been watching, and basically it's just a guide. You don't want to leave that square, that X, at all. If you do, the minions will de-aggro. Some of the minions will de-aggro, and it'll just be much harder for you to gather them up and it'll be a little bit less, little annoying. So just mark the squares. If you have Rune Light, I would seriously get Rune Light. Seriously suggest getting Rune Light just to mark the squares. And just the way I have it, it took me an hour to figure it out in terms of actually getting a hang of it and actually finding the squares, the right spot to do this at. As for the XP, I was getting around 85k magic experience an hour, roughly. But I was also on defensive stance, so I was getting around. If I wasn't on defensive stance, I'd get around 120, 130k magic experience an hour, which is actually pretty good. Not gonna lie, it is really, really, really good actually. Especially for a spot like this. I personally really like it. So let's go ahead and grab the loot that we got from this 3-hour trip. So I'm just gonna grab what I think I had, and I think I had like around 12,000 toku. So let's go ahead and price check this real quick and see if we made our money back. Let's go ahead and price check this really quickly. And so we got 2 capes and 13 uncut or cut bolt tips. One of these weapons and all this other stuff. We can't trade the toku, unfortunately, but that's fine. Yeah, we made our money back, guys. And honestly, I'd have to say we got really unlucky. I think we killed roughly, I don't know, if someone wants to count all the kills that I got, I want to say at least 500 kills, at least. I want to say more like 1,000. But probably not that many. I don't know. I will show the what you can get from this little trip really quickly. So as you can see here, let's see, right here. Let me just bring this up. This is the loot that you can get, and it's a very short table, a very small table, but one of the armor pieces is 1 in 2,000, so you're roughly getting an armor piece every 650 kills, because there's 3 slots, so there's 3 pieces of armor that you can get, so it's about 650 per 650 KC per kill or per item. And the same could be said about the other pieces as well. Luckily, we did get 2 obby capes. We did unfortunately not get an armor piece, which was kind of bad. Honestly, we should have gotten an armor piece, including the rest of the items that we got. That was just really unlucky. I'm sure if I stayed there for another 30 minutes or an hour or something, we might have gotten that piece. But yeah, I honestly think that you could potentially make money if you're a little lucky. If you're not as lucky as me, you'll probably break even. If you're really unlucky, then maybe you won't break even. I think if the more you do it and the longer you do it, you'll make money off of it eventually, or break even. Like I said, it is 120k mage experience an hour, so that's really, really good, considering that you can get some lucky drops and make some money. There is no real requirement for this. There's no Slayer requirement like Dust Devils or Necrio. Neither is there any other type of requirement other than the Fire Cape. You do need to get a Fire Cape to do this, which in itself is not really that hard to get these days. And yeah, if you're bursting, I strongly recommend doing something like this. If you can't do Dust Devils or Necrials, I strongly recommend doing this because you're wasting bursts on monkeys and not getting anything in return. You do get better XP rates there, but not that much more. Probably maybe 100, like 80k more maybe. If you're lucky, you can get 210k XP at monkeys or something. Bursting. Yeah, so you can either waste millions getting your experience that way, or potentially make some money, or at least your money back doing this. This is also, I would also like to point out that for Slayer, I get Tzhaar tasks all the time, like all the time, and I never skip them. I never go to Jad and skip it. I do these tasks just like this, or I rigger solo them one at a time. Uh, but yeah, these tasks are super fast, and you can potentially make some good money with it. I've made in one trip of 100 kills, I've gotten 2 capes and an obby helm, which is close to 3 mil in one trip with it, which was an hour. So I made 3 mil in an hour practically. So you can get really lucky here, and you can make some good profit. Especially doing it this way, you'll make a ton. You'll get a ton of experience, plus possible money. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the guide, the loot, and all that type of stuff. Yeah, let's go on to the next video, guys. See you next time. Peace.